Okay, hello. Today we're drawing what I see off of my window. Now we did this last time. Actually made a very late live about all this kind of stuff. But yeah, at some point we'll be able to finish this. It's going to be probably a very long project. Now, hopefully, someone new might comes in. We might have a little bit of fun. Okay, let me take out the image because I cannot turn around my back to see outside. Okay, here we go. Now I done this yesterday night, and it didn't come as well as I thought it did. So we'll be changing it a little bit as we go. Okay. Okay. Hopefully these might be a little bit interesting. And if you want to learn a little bit about this kind of stuff, just let me know. Okay. Okay. I keep receiving notification on my phone. Usually doesn't happen, but sometimes it happens. Okay. Ooh, a low battery on my headphones. Okay. I'm trying to finish this part. This is very hard trees to represent because they are olive trees and the color. I don't know if you have ever seen the back of a leaf. Well, on the front is kind of greenish, so that we can represent it however we want. The problem is the other side is basically gray when it's hit by the light, so it's a little harder. What I did is I got a very, very light green, and then I went directly with the black over, doing the dots, and then making all the shades with black, trying to give it a little more of a thing. At least that's what I tried. So these here, and these here are going to be olive trees. Oh no. Well, no, that's fine. We should be yellow, but that's okay. No. Okay. Okay. Okay, I'll try to see if I can reconnect the headphones. Okay, connect. You connected the other one? No, I did not. Connect. Hmm. Maybe doesn't like it. I should have battery though. You try to solve this. Well, well, while you're here, if you can hear the boys, just listen to the boys. I don't know what to say. Okay, let's see if I can manage to reconnect. Hello. Uh, I have a problem with my headphones. They all decided to, well, stop working. at the same time. I have two pairs. Okay, okay, I fixed that. Good. Hopefully it's fixed for a while. I mean, I've been charging them for quite a long time, and yeah, while I went to eat, I left them there. Did not charge a bit. It was like a 10%. Anyway, today we are continuing with this. So, yeah, hopefully uh, the big picture will start to, well, come together. Because for now, I mean, you can look at the singular things and say, okay, no, that's not bad. But until you have, like, you're halfway through, yeah, the blue it doesn't look as well as I would like it to be. So hopefully at some point we'll be able to do this kind of stuff. Okay. Doing these dots. The problem is I have already started doing the dots, and yeah, I cannot go back to it. Not doing them. And for all the yellow part that you see around here, I would have to make the dots and then blending them in. That's all because of those damn olive trees. I know I have been talking about those olive trees for a while, but okay, that happens. Well, we make oil. Um, Last year, I believe we made like 30, 30 kilos of oil, so it's a little bit more in liters. It was a good year last year. I mean, we didn't have to buy it. We still have some of it from last year. It won't be there till October November when we make the new one, but it works. And this year is probably going to be even better. There are so many flowers on them. It's like super. All the trees are super filled. Well, we also have a ton of trees. Yeah, it didn't. Yeah, it's something that my dad likes to do, so I'm just here, basically. Anyway, yeah, the camera is shaking. I'm not liking that. Then doing the other parts will be a little bit more interesting. Different kind of trees. I don't know what they are, but they're normal. For yeah, I wouldn't know how to translate that. Uh, it's some kind of a mix. It's because well, it's not strictly pointing technique for everything. I'm using it for the leafy part of these trees. So the shades would not be doing with points, but the center it would be. I'm just trying to implement a way to represent it better. As you can see, like right here, if I wanted to make the shades, I would have to go and make very thin point right here and make the shade, but that would take a long time, and I shouldn't have you shouldn't do with the crayons underneath because um, yeah, I'm using the crayon underneath these because it won't keep the color that much, so it would have an effect like this right here. That is where it is already dried up, so it looks like a line, more of a shade thing instead of an actual point. That was what I was going for. Yeah, doing this kind of now I could probably at some point doing some portrait or stuff like that with pointing technique because it's an actually very interesting technique. If I could manage to find all my old stuff, I don't remember where I put it. I have an enormous bag with all that stuff inside, and I have a few made with the pointing technique. And hopefully that would be also interesting. This is basically, if you had to put it in a category, it would be more like approximated realism. It's like you take what's there and you approximate what's on the screen with what you're doing, because there is uh, it's kind of the opposite of hyperrealism. I don't know if you know what that is. It's like taking a real life but enhancing it because maybe something doesn't look good with the shade that comes on it. You change what's on there, so you're not representing the actual truth of what is on, I don't know, a photo or something like that. You're actually making it better and better looking for the portrait. And what I'm doing is basically the opposite. Is like it looks, you approximate the truth of what it actually is on the photo with, in this case, it's points. In the case of the leaves, if is black, but I did not draw all the leaves. It's not like every single leaf is represented. It's an approximation of leaves. I don't know if it's something that makes sense to you, and probably I should be able to, well, to talk about it better. That probably would help. Yeah, and doing the pointinism. I don't know how it's in English. Is also an approximation of what's the truth because it's not. It's similar in concept. On what actually happens is not. I actually took two courses about art. Basically starting from the Renaissance up to modern times. Well, of modern times we did very, very little. Yeah, but I could talk about paintings a lot. I could talk a lot about paintings. Is that, yeah, it's, I don't know, probably a little bit less interesting. I don't know. And also we have, I have to tell you that this is very interesting. We have this politician. Well, he's got into politics afterwards. He's a critique of art, an art critic, and he's very good at it. And you look at him on the TV, and he's like super mad. He calls people idiots and stuff like that. Just goes mad. And then you listen to him talking about art, and you're like, this guy knows everything. But then he goes crazy. And I'm a little bit like that. Well, I don't have all that knowledge that he's got. Absolutely not. He's got a major on it. Plus, he spent his whole life learning more. But that's besides the point. Okay, here we go. The problem of not doing this in a single day is you can see this is more fluffy than this one that we did yesterday. It's, yeah, because it's very different from day to day. You get an idea of how to make it different. Because if you were representing everything for real, for how actually it is, you wouldn't encounter these kind of problems. But this way, you actually do a little bit. Okay. Oh, notifications. I don't know what it is. Okay, I finish the podcast. Let me start another one. Okay, here we go. Okay. Let me take out the picture. I would like to see the shades a little bit better. Where is it though? Okay, here it is. And once we're done, I'll show the actual picture. It's of course much better than this because, yeah, you know. What's that? By the way, I forgot to ask, are you recently looking at your window or you're looking at the picture of your outside view? No, it's a picture because I'm I have to turn my head 180 degrees to look at the window. Yeah, you have to do that. Plus, there's the side of the house that goes like into this direction, like just right here. So I had to take it from below so that it wouldn't show. So if I look right now out of the windows, these trees are much bigger, and these one are just right on the front. So it's not the exact same perspective. Okay. Yeah, the color that you see of these, it's a little bit lighter than what it actually is. I had a look at uh, at the live. Yeah, it's not. I don't know. It makes it a little more opaque. Yeah, I'm not liking that. So I'll be probably trying to make it a little bit more well different. Okay. Yeah, but yeah, I was thinking if I could manage uh to well, I don't know, get another phone or maybe borrow one, I would also have a picture of outside on the side or maybe a little square on a corner or something like that of what's outside. Probably make it more interesting. Not sure about that though. Okay, so here. And then the problem is I have to kind of figure out how to do these trees. Then behind them, it's completely different. So yeah, every tree has its own colors. So this one is a lemon tree, and this one right here is mandarins. I don't know if they're called that. The little oranges. I believe they're mandarins, but I'm not sure because I think well, Mandarin is the Chinese language or a part of that language, and yeah, but well, in Italian is the same word. The fruit and the language are the same word. So maybe it's the same in English too. And maybe it's called like that. Well, we call it like that because it comes from China. That it's there's a very high chance of that happening. Like the word assassin comes from the Arabic word assassin. That means the guy that well, basically the guy that uses hashish. So so there's influences like that. Well, in Italian it's the same thing. Is assassino. So but basically the same word is assassin with an O at the end. And so probably the Mandarin went through the same phase. Knowledge. The more you know. Yeah, I'm just stupid. I know I'm stupid. I don't have any problem with that. Okay. Now these are done. Let's go ahead with something else. I'm hating these trees. Let's go on. Okay, need different colors though. Okay, I'm alive. I didn't want to stand up, So I just basically rolled on the floor to get that. Still sitting on the chair. Anyway, oh god, no. Okay. I don't believe this is the right yellow though. Yeah, what else? What else would I need? Well, I need the colors for the houses. And I'm pretty lucky with that because around here all the houses are tangerine. Oh, yeah, tangerine. Yeah. You didn't get the word. I've been in the US for a year to study almost 5 years ago. Oh god, I'm old. Yeah, it was 5 years ago. Wow. So sometimes words just escape me because if you don't use them, uh, it becomes a little bit of a problem. You just don't know or forget. But yeah, if I see the word like tangerine, yeah, I know exactly what it is. But I have to look at it. Anyway, I was thinking, no, I have to do the center part first because it's more interesting with the trees. Yeah, I could probably just go over the houses, do the part behind them, so we will have something in the center. Yeah, that's probably more interesting. Let's do just that. Yeah, come on. Okay. Okie dokie. Here we go. Because there's this part. Okay, that's going to be more interesting. Okay, let me just outline some parts. Okay, so this. Oh, it's fine. We all mistake. It's not a big thing. Yeah, yeah, I know. I know, but well, since I am online talking, I have like just you know. Sometimes it happens. Well, happens to everybody, even native English speakers. Happens to everybody, but you know, I wish it did not happen. Okay, so we're doing this. That it's very interesting. There are some fields. We actually are a big producer of wine. I've been I've been working on that too. It's actually pretty interesting. It's hard work because it's very hard work. But then you taste the wine, and it's pretty good. Okay, there is a house right there, and then we get to the other houses that starting right here. Okay. 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 That's the difference of expensive wine and cheap wine because I only tried the cheap one. Okay, so when you're making wine, uh, you need to have a percentage of the sugar inside it because if not, it will be illegal to sell it. So it has to be, and there's a calculation, but I'll give you percentages on alcohol. Um, it would need to be at least 12.5% alcohol. Or you have some special machines, but you're making normal wine. It needs to be 12.5 to be able to sell it and get all the stuff, all the approvations, all the stuff. And if you don't, and you have to make up for it, you have to add stuff. So you add sugar that is not from actual from the grapes that you pick up. So that means that they're not that sweet, and so the taste is worse from from the grape itself. But what you add afterwards is not as good. So what happens is it's a mixture, and yeah, the percentage of alcohol goes up, but you didn't add any taste to it. So it's just like it was before. And the problem in that is if the grape is at the right point, so it's mature, right? So it starts to get a little brown on the outside. That's the right moment to take them out. But you cannot do that. Yeah, you have to do everything in a week. So if a part is not in the sun and has lower grades of sugar inside it, you make a different wine, a cheaper one, and then you add the sugar yourself. And another problem is you have to adjust um, the acidity if that happens, because it will be more acid because there's not enough sugar. I mean, the stuff that is inside the grape hasn't turned into sugar, so it's very acid. So you need to add stuff, and at that point you're basically drinking chemical stuff, and it's not as good. That's cheap wine. That's how it's made, and that's why you get a headache when you drink cheap wine, and when you have expensive wine, you usually don't, unless you are just like me. If I drink white wine, even if it's very good, I get a little bit of a headache. But with the red one, if it's cheap, I get it like I take a sip, 5 seconds headache. I'm just a little picky about those kind of things, and my body is too. Just reacts badly. The violet grape or green grape? Don't know the difference. Okay, so that's a very interesting thing. So, um, to make red wine, well, usually is just separated. Like you have the white grape, that is the green one. It's called white grape. Well, at least here. And then you make the white wine, and then you have the red grapes that we actually call black, just in my village. So we call it black wine and not red wine, but that's besides the point. And they're separated. But what happens is you for the red one you need to leave uh, all the stuff that is on outside. I'm calling it the crust, even if it's not. It has another name. Um, you have to leave it inside the wine for a little bit just to take the color, or else you would make a white wine even from uh, a red grapes. It's more of a rosé. It's not actually white as the normal wine. But yeah, that's how you do it. And I had to do it myself. It's the worst process in the world because you have to remove everything from this big metallic box. And you have to put your hands in, and there's everything. Yeah, it's not the best. And then you have to wash everything, and the stuff you have moved to another big thing. You just put on the other one, remove everything, put it back, so you have to wash everything twice. But that's a problem because we don't have that much equipment. It's not, well, other people probably have better ways to do it. But red wine is usually higher on sugar because the outside is very very dark. It's like a dark purple, so absorbs more light from the sun, and the process of making the sugar inside is just starts faster. But if you don't have, if you have white grape that is not that mature, like the grape itself, it's kind of fine because uh, some just go way up. We had one that had we have a thing that is done like this. Yeah, it's like a pen. You open it, you squeeze a grape on it, you close it, and then you look inside it with your eye. There was some grape that would make a 17% alcohol wine, and it was a white one. So some of those just go way up, so you balance them out. But what you would have to do, we don't have, uh, we're not like a big corporation. We don't have that many things. Well, that many fields, so you cannot make 15 different kinds of wine. So you have to mix them up, and that removes a little bit. But well, nobody would buy a 17% alcohol wine. It's just, even if it's good, just two sips and you start going stuff like that. You're drunk as hell. Apart in Sardinia, they have very strong wine. I went there probably 3 or 4 years ago because of COVID. It's actually very close to here. Well, it's an island, so you have to get there, but it's not that far. But there, a normal red wine has like 16%, and that's a normal. Why'd all the stock wine cost more money than the newer one? Uh, there's many reasons for it. Many reasons. So one would be that when they made the wine, it was a good year for the grapes. So you didn't have excessive rain. The sun was out all the time, and stuff like that. So that the grapes were at the right time. You didn't have to add anything, and made a better wine. So that's one of the reasons. Is like if you have to buy, there's some expensive bottles and that. Now I don't remember how they're called. But if you want to buy a cheaper version of it, but they're $500 or $600 bottles. If you buy the 2006, it's like half because that was a bad year. Maybe the weather was bad, or maybe I don't know, something went wrong with the machine, so it took a little bit of air. That also could happen. There should be no air, not hair. Also no hair, but there should be no air inside. Maybe something happened. You have to throw some out, and what you had was not as good as you should be. So those are all reasons why it's not good. It also happens here. It doesn't change the price. It's just there are no bottles anymore. The red wine that we made 3 years ago was like super good. Everybody was asking for it. In fact, we don't have any anymore. And so we were forced to like, yeah, you want it, but it's 2019, and we have to tell you it's not the one that you had before. And it's not the same thing. So if we had a ton of bottles and we were selling them, that would probably cost a little bit more because it's actually very, very good. Not to remove from the other red one because it's also good. But some years it just happens because it has been a couple of years where like the grapes were extremely good, 3 years in a row, and yeah, we couldn't do anything about it. Last year, the grapes looked even better. It didn't make a good wine. No, it made a good wine, but not as good. So that's why it costs more or less. And going for like super expensive bottle, uh, you sell just the good one to like really rich people. You just sell the good bottles, and the bad bottles cost less, and you sell to the people that cannot afford the good year, basically. because they say, oh yeah, I bought a champagne from, I don't know, France, wherever. Yeah, but you got it 2007, and that was not the best year, so it cost half. That's how wine snobs work. And there's also difference between the sides, and also every few years you have to change uh, the the plants, the the, the trees, whatever you want to call them. They're like, no, they're plants. They're not trees. Yeah, and you have to do that. There's some good wine in Sicily um, that was built, and until like I was not born yet. There was this wine that was extremely good. It grew up on the side of the volcano, and you probably have already figured it out if it doesn't cost as much as it did before. The volcano destroyed everything, so they're not the same plants anymore. So people don't. Well, it's not as good. It's not as good. They had to get new plants, but the one that I had before were just a different breed. You cannot get those anymore. They don't exist. So the one is not the same, and the price went down. That's a little wine trivia. Okay. Here I'm trying to figure out what to do here because, and I did not look at what I was doing, and also have the light over this. Just to remove a little bit so I can see better. But it might happen that, I don't know, 2021 becomes the best wine that I ever gotten, and it will cost more. But your starts to sell it like we are putting the wine inside the bottles right now from last year, and we didn't even finish that. It's not everything is out yet, so you shouldn't be able to buy a 2021 now. Yeah, well, a 2020 now. We should be just starting. For the information, never knew about that before. That's interesting. Yeah, I know it's very interesting. And then I had to learn a lot of things like how to clean everything, how to put everything inside the machines. The no, it's a very interesting job. Is that not something that you can do for a life, for a living, unless you're like producing ton of wine? Because there is, for what we do, well, we produce a lot, but we should basically take down half of the houses that are here and start making lines over lines of grapes. It's not going to happen. That's a problem. I'm trying to figure out here, but okay, no way. Let me see if I can get a black pencil. No blue, brown. Okay, here we go. Oh, it broke. Oh, I got stuck. Okay. Let's try if the sharpener doesn't eat everything here to keep going. And oh well, another thing about wine. This year, I learned how they made some kind of like the wine that has the sparkling. The, it's like okay, I don't know how to say that. that is that is the bubbles in. I don't know how you want to call them because well, there are so many different names. So I would say just prosecco. It's just not that. There are many different ones. Anyway, we had to keep everything at the right temperature with with dry ice. That is just carbon monoxide, I think. Uh, and we had to keep it at the right temperature, and every half an hour we had to put some more in. It took a long time. Now I know why they cost a little more. It's just a process. Everything else we just put inside and wait, and then wait for it to be done. Well, adding stuff, make sure that they don't get too hot, but that's a normal. Because in the past, right now you have running water over the tanks, but back in the day, and we still do, you are underground. Well, we're not actually underground. We are in the lowest level of the castle. It's actually an interesting place. There's all around. You have the garden of the castle. It's just very interesting place to visit. Yeah, I don't know because I have so many ideas of what I want to do, but yeah, I never had the chance then to do them. Like vlogging that, that would be very interesting. Okay, let's see if I can remove this and then put it in the right colors. Because I've been stuck here for a while. Okay. Did they put them inside a barrel or fermentation? I just saw how they make Jack Daniels on Discovery Channel and wondering if the wine was the same process. No and yes. Because there's some red wine that is not actually fermented, but yeah, it's on the same barrels. It's a process very similar to that one. But no, there are well, right now the law is changing. Before they were made of cement, and there were some chemicals inside. Well, that what old people used to do is take in. I don't remember what that was. Anyway, there was some kind of candle that you put inside, and that's to clean, and that's a very important part of making wine. So in the old ones, we still do, and we have to clean them, and it's a very hard job because you cannot get inside or you will die because all the chemicals they just kill you if you breathe them in. So you have to stay outside by cleaning from the outside the inside of a big barrel. Yeah, it's a little bit harder. But if you have a thing on the top where it boils out, there's some kind of a cap on top that is opened and it boils out. It starts basically a few hours after you put the yeast in. It starts to boil and it burns the sugar and turns into alcohol. So the process is probably a little bit different, but yeah, that's actually pretty interesting. The new way is with some kind of aluminum tube, a big tube, because with that you can cool it down if you have to make particular wines that are at a particular temperature. You have to do it like that. But we don't. Har is a different kind, and it's a particular kind of grapes that grow around here. So, but it's pretty good. I mean, well, I don't get anything off of it, but they selling it also to supermarkets. It's getting somewhere. But if that actually expands and stuff happens, so I might get into it for real, not just working when I have the time. But a few years ago, well, back in the day, I probably was not born yet because the guys that were before, no, well, the directorial part changed a couple of years ago, and the guys before those made uh, the hard alcohol with what it's left of the grapes. They also made beer, honey, and oil to sell. So what there was a ton of stuff, but they had to reduce because you wouldn't sell because it is more of a local thing for everything else apart from the wine, and people all have their own oil. I mean, I made mine, and so it wouldn't really go. And the honey, there were a few guys that did it. They made a lot, so it was just redundant. But maybe in the future, we're thinking about buying a new place that is a little bit bigger, so we can probably start to do something else. We'll see. We'll see. Hopefully. I mean, it's a tradition that I wouldn't like to lose. I want to be a part of it. Yeah, hopefully. Anyway, how long have we been here? Because I don't. Ooh, almost an hour. Wow. We have a very. We have quite a few things to do today. To know a little bit. Even more than a little bit. No! I broke it. More than a little bit, I would have to go. Less than a little bit, I would have to go. But I want to do at least more than an hour. I want to keep it consistent. Usually we go for an hour. Okay, let's see how it looks, because from this perspective I have all the light on my eyes. Okay. No, okay, it's not that bad from that perspective. There's too much light right here though. Okay. Not bad. You get some knowledge about alcohols. It would be interesting if you make a vlog out of that. Yes. I also went. I was interviewed for the news about this kind of stuff. We were in a field picking everything up, and the crew came in and said, "Okay, can we talk about a little bit of what you're doing?" I was like, "Oh yeah, absolutely." And we also made the reporter. That was this young lady and said, "Oh no, no, come here, come here." We made her sit on the big bucket and said, "Okay, come on." Pick some up. This was very very fun. Yeah, it's an interesting story because, well, yeah, there was this old guy that was like super into the reporter. It's like, "Oh, come here, I'll teach you." It was laughing my ass off. But I have not seen the report because they not do not upload them. I try to stay because, well, of course they do it a few days before it comes out. So every night I would just go on, turn on the TV and look. but I never managed to catch it. So so I don't know if I went on TV. Probably did though. Yeah, I don't want to brag, but I'm kind of famous. I'm kidding. I'm not, but it was not the first time that I went on TV. And another time I went like in national TV. It was like a super big report. They were recording people in the schools, and sometimes I am in the stock videos when they're maybe doing a report about what happens in the classrooms and stuff like that, or there's a news about school stuff like that. I'm in the stock because the people from the news came into our school in our class to record it. So yeah, sometimes I just randomly on TV. All my class was. At this point, well, they probably have changed it because well, I was in high school. I'm 23, so it's a long time ago. So I'm also nationally famous. Kinda. People know my face. No, probably do. Some people probably do. And also a problem because here, I don't know why, there's like 4 or 5 guys, and people think we are the same person. They said, "Dude, you did not go to school today. I saw you on the bus." And I was like, "I'm home with a fever. I did not play truant, as they would say in England." And yeah, I did not just take the bus and went places. I'm home. I was like, "No, no, I saw you on the bus." No, you did not. And there's like 4 people like that. But it happens also in my village. This guy came into the bar. Well, he probably had a few drinks. I don't know. Said, "Oh, hey, how's it going with the baby?" And I was like, "What? I don't have a baby." "Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were another guy." I was like, Yes, it happens." Oh, yeah, I'm starting to receive a lot of messages because I can now look at my phone, but it's probably getting time to go out. From today, we don't have lockdown anymore, so that's pretty good news. So probably tonight I'll be going out. Hopefully, probably. Yeah, well, yes and no, because they're like, I would need to have something like 3 or 4 just around here, off of 90,000 people that live in this region. I would need to have a 4 here, but if they're all here, that's probably, I don't know, 10 times less likely than winning the lottery 5 times in a row. Because out of 8 billion people, 4 that look the same live in the same place. It's like, nah, well, I'm almost an engineer, so I could actually calculate that. Uh, well, I could statistically calculate that. You will also have to take into the account the genetics. So before the chance that 2 guys look the same, and then you make the calculation of 4 specific guys living in the same place off of 90 people, 90,000 people. But also just the fact that 4 specific people are inside the 90,000 uh, circle out of 7 billion, it's already a lot. But if you take the account of the genetics, it just goes up. Anyway, I just go off of tangents. I just do. And but isn't that what YouTubers do? They just go off of tangents. I don't know. I was made for this. I have no idea. I could just talk forever. I just keep going. Back in the day, and well, nothing of that is around anymore. I would stream on Twitch. No problem. Talking a couple of hours to myself with nobody there. No problem. I just did. Okay. Well, this is starting to come together. I'm not a very fan of this, so I'll be probably changing it at some point. I'll think about how to do it because, well, I bought all these crayons last week, but you can see this green is not the right kind that I would want. So I would have to figure out how I would like it to change. Because mixing up with the other green, it's fine, but it's not as dark as I would want. And the problem is that creates this. There's like black and not enough contrast. So we'll see. Then you can pretend to be someone else to claim the prize if the winner got resembles with you. Yes, that can happen. It's more likely that somebody stole my prizes. Yeah, I'm sure about that. Yeah, I was meant to win something, I'm sure. I never knew about because my doppelganger just stole everything. Yeah, that's what happened. Okay. Ooh, it's 3:30 in the afternoon. Okay, we did a little bit, but yeah, in a moment I would have to go. Yeah, it's an hour and 3 minutes. I would have liked to stay a little longer, but I have quite a few things to do. Oh, but it was interesting. I mean, we talked a little bit about wine. Um, yeah, I hope to see you next time. Hope it wasn't that boring. Uh, I just a question. If you want to see some more Marvel stuff, just to talk about comics and that kind of stuff, I'll do it. Maybe this I will just do it sometimes, maybe an hour a week or something like that. That will probably be an interesting idea. I don't know. Sometimes this just keeps going because it's a very long project. This is like I don't know, already 2 hours and we did nothing. So okay. Um, well, I'll thank you and well, just wait a minute because yeah. Well, not fix everything, but yeah, no, I'll do off. See you, Dutsy. Bye.